While the Pelicans wait for Zion, they've been playing pretty good ball lately. Had a franchise record 21 threes in a win over the Grizzlies last night. And now the home game against the Spurs tomorrow night, where we do expect to see Zion make his long-awaited debut, 9:30 Eastern on ESPN. Here's Andrew Lopez with more on what we might see.
You think Zion Williamson's ready to come back? After the Pelicans win on Monday, Brandon Ingram said Zion went into the locker room, took his jacket off because he doesn't need it anymore. The next time New Orleans takes the court, Zion Williamson will be playing. That's what happens on Wednesday night when they play the San Antonio Spurs. Now, the Pelicans will probably start Zion Williamson, but they don't expect him to play long minutes. Don't see 35, 38 minutes. They'll play him in short bursts. Now, is coming back at the right time. Pelicans have won 11 of 16 games, and now they can continue their push to the playoffs with Zion Williamson.
Finally, the long-awaited debut of Zion. For more on that, we welcome in David Fizdale and his 17 years of coaching experience in the NBA. That's important that we say that. So, meanwhile, Zion will be on a minutes restriction, as just reported. What are the realistic expectations for him and obviously for the fans?
Well, I think with the way that he plays, I think he'll be able to come right in and impact the team. He's a guy that's going to attack the rim. He's going to be a guy that plays two-man game with a lot of the playmakers that they have, and he's a guy that runs the floor hard. And so I really think he can come in right away and really impact their team and give them an opportunity to make the playoffs.
All right, coach to coach, and they are only 3.5 games back from the Grizzlies. So coach to coach, if you're Alvin Gentry, how are you managing that for the fact you want him to be healthy? Because I would just be concerned about who he is and the wear and tear, because I know they've been slow stepping him back into this debut.
You got to trust your trainers. You got to trust the sports science people. I think you don't have to get it all in one bunch. You know, you got to spread it out and really try to bring them along slowly. And I think just having him back, even if it's 20, 25 minutes a night, that's a huge impact on that team. And the way that they're playing right now without him, just to have him for those minutes, I think gives them a huge boost.
A huge boost. Okay, so what do you want to give us a point line in predictions?
No.
10, 5, and 2? Okay, no.
All I know is he'll be very impactful because he's a guy who he's not relying on a jump shot to impact the game. He's relying on a lot of other things.
I appreciate you. Coach Fizdale joining us here on SportsCenter Coast to Coast. For more on this debut, I'll send it over to David.
Yeah, we got our NBA insider, Adrian Wojnarowski, here. Woj, the Pelicans have been very cautious with each step in his recovery. So how do you see, when he does get on the floor, how do you see them playing this?
Well, as Andrew Lopez reported, there'll be a minutes restriction here for him, whether that's, 15 to 20, 16 to 22 in his opener on Wednesday. You're not going to see him play much more than that, and they will start working him back in. He comes back to a team that is playing very well, that has turned its season around, that has seen a lot of growth among the young teammates around him. It's really the perfect time for him to return to this team.
Okay, and now we're sort of steamrolling toward the February 6th trade deadline. So they've won 10 of 14. They're in the hunt for that last playoff spot. How does that inform the Pelicans as they move towards the deadline?
I'm told, David, they have really pulled back in trade talks among all their players. They want to make the playoffs, and they're 3.5 games behind Memphis, but there's still 3 teams between them and the Grizzlies. They have a lot of work to do. They also have the easiest schedule in the league from here on out. But, Drew Holiday, J.J. Redick, they're going to hold on to these players right now. At the very least, I'm told, they've got 8 games before that February 6th trade deadline. They may play all 7 games. They have a game on February 6th. See where they are in terms of the playoffs before they look to see what might be out there for them. They want to see how this group looks playing with Zion Williamson.
And in effect, they've acquired an unbelievable player without having to give away anything, because Zion will now take the court for the first time as an NBA player. Looking forward to this tomorrow night on ESPN. Woj giving us some insight into all of that. Zion making the NBA debut tomorrow. You can see the #1 pick in action. And
Lakers on the road in Boston. LeBron James in Springfield, Massachusetts earlier in the day, watching Sierra Canyon and his son Bronny play. Then back in Boston before the game with the powder toss and his teammates having some fun with it. And Kemba Walker 0 for 28 against LeBron. First quarter, Daniel Tice inside finishes on the inbounds. Jaylen Brown with the steal, can't get it to go. LeBron tips it to Kemba, and Kemba tips it in. Oh, well, foreshadowing of things to come. Wild play, Celtics up 3 at the end of the first quarter. Second quarter, the C's lead by 6. LeBron guarding Marcus Smart drives, and watch this pass to Enes Kanter. I mean, this is a real good look right here. That's
really good.
That's really good. Celtics up 42-34 at that point. Later, Kemba layup. No, but Cantor put back 18 points, 8 boards off the bench in the first half. Sees up 14 at the break. Third quarter, the lead is now 16. Brown driving over LeBron. Oh, Jalen. Oh, the bench loves it. Here is Brown on what he just did to the King.
Just being aggressive and just made a play at the rim. I ain't gonna lie though, it was pretty nice. It was pretty awesome.
Do you have it on a bucket list for today?
I ain't gonna lie,
Yeah, exactly. Later, Jason Tatum. 3 up, 3 down, game high 27. His 23rd game this season with at least 20 points. A little later, Celtics up 25. Kemba fakes floater. He had 20.7 assists. He finally beats LeBron. C's win 139-107.
He's beating a lot of people. I bet you not a lot of guys that have a winning record against LeBron James. But I mean, of course, you know, I'm happy I got one at least. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's only one. 1 in 28. You know, that's it. I'm on a new team, so I'm 1-0.
It was just a good old-fashioned butt whooping. That's all. That's all. They beat us on all facets of the game, from outside, the interior, points off turnovers, and offensive rebounds was the main ingredients of this L.
This was the Lakers' worst loss of the year by any measure. Their 139 points allowed were the most they've allowed in a game this season. Their field goal percentage defense and three-point defense were also season lows. And if it could have been worse, it would have been worse if the Celtics didn't miss 10 free throws, tied for their second most this season. As for LeBron and his very busy day, here's Dave McMenamin.
It's the Lakers, 139-107. They're on the short end. They had the 107. Let's retreat it. Lakers have been one of the league's best defensive teams this season. Celtics lit them up $139, the most LA has allowed this season. Boston dominated in transition, outscoring the Lakers 27-9. Jaylen Brown scored or assisted on 12 of those 27 by himself. Lakers, they're now just 1-5 this season when scoring under 10 transition points. Celtics also had the 3-ball working, shot 47% from distance, their best mark in a game this season in which they attempted at least 30 threes. Boston went 8 for 11 on uncontested threes, making more of those than the Lakers made total threes in this game. Let's head out to Boston. That's where Dave McMenamin is. Dave, the Lakers don't lose often, and they don't lose by a lot often, and they don't lose by a lot often when LeBron James is on the court. They lost by a lot with LeBron James on the court. How'd they handle the beatdown?
Neil, they were kind of licking their wounds in the locker room after this one. Kyle Kuzma said they were weird from an energy standpoint all night. Frank Vogel said he challenged the team to bring it at halftime when they're already trailing, and they really weren't able to find any extra reserve. Rajon Rondo said it was ugly, and LeBron said, you know, it was a good old-fashioned butt whooping. And you look at the numbers, it was really tough. They're outscored by 14 in transition, outscored by 10 on second chance points, outscored by 10 in points in the paint, and the Celtics shot way better from the three-point line. So you add it all up, and that's what a 30-point loss looks in the NBA.
Well, feeling good might come Wednesday. They play the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. Dave McMenamin from Boston.
Before the game against the Celtics, LeBron James at the Hoop Hall Classic in Springfield, Massachusetts. His son, Bronny James, and Sierra Canyon taking on Paul VI. A young fan appears to throw something at Bronny James in the third quarter. That's not cool. Here's what LeBron had to say about it after the game.
I mean, it's just disrespectful. I mean, and it was a little kid, too. I don't know how old that.
Defeat of the season for the Houston Rockets. In the band, he put it in!
And he has the MLK Days single game record.
An eventful day and night in the NBA, so we need Tim Legler to help us break it down. Tim, worst loss of the season for the Lakers, so not much went right, but what went especially wrong from your vantage point?
Well, look, and LeBron said it after the game, this is going to happen in an 82-game season. And when you have two teams that have title aspirations, which both of these do, and one plays well and one doesn't, you get a beatdown, and that's what happened. But for me, I just thought this was Boston's best game of the year. They were just playing at a different pace. They were more intent on what they were doing offensively.